Good day everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Isla Ivatan. In this episode, I'm going to reveal the newest Philippine asset for Cities Skylines. This is episode number 19. In the previous episode, we talked about the struggle and sacrifices of thousands of overseas Filipino workers. I would like to say thanks to all of the people who responded to my question and shared their stories of their family members who were or currently working as an OFW. I'm going to dedicate this barangay to them, and I've named the main street and some of these houses to remember their hard work and sacrifices. You can check out some of their stories in the comment section of episode number 18 if you haven't seen them. As you already saw in the beginning in the thumbnail, I have a brand new Philippine asset that I'm going to reveal today, which is the Manila City Hall. I've been working on this one for over 3 months now. I really put my heart and soul in making this one, and I could definitely say that this is the most detailed asset I've ever created for Cities Skylines. I saw this video on YouTube a while back. I think this is a promotional video about the future projects of the current mayor of Manila, Mayor Isko Moreno. I got really excited when I saw this because, in my opinion, the city of Manila has been neglected for several years now. And I'm really glad to see that Manila is finally heading to the right direction once again. And this inspired me to create something similar for Isla Ivatan. But in order for me to do that, I need the Manila City Hall. So I called up an old friend of mine. We were in art class together in high school, and we've spent many late nights doing art school projects. And now he's an architect, so I figured he could help me with this project. I don't know where he got this schematic, but he really did an amazing job creating this 3D model in SketchUp. Not a whole lot of details and textures, but at least this gave me something to start with. So I imported the model into Blender to add the textures. A couple of days into texturing, I realized that they painted the City Hall from red and yellow to white and gold, so I had to redo it. Went to Google Maps Street View for some textures and references, bake it, make an LOD model, and done. Simple, right? Except it took 3 months for the entire process. Just a disclaimer, I just want to let everyone know that this series is not a recreation of Manila. All characters, places, and events depicted in this series are all fictional. The city of Isla Ivatan is not real. The topography of the island is based on the islands of Batanes, but the city layout is from pure imagination. It's more like how they did the city layout in the game Grand Theft Auto. San Andreas and Los Santos were based on real places in Southern California, but not exact recreation due to hardware limitations. It's kind of a summarized Southern California. So that's what Isla Ivatan is all about. Some areas were based on different parts of the Philippines like Antipolo, Dipolog, and we will have a Boracay episode in the future, or maybe Baguio, and of course Manila, because that's where I'm from. So I just want to get that out. Manila accounts for less than 1% of the Philippines, so you cannot characterize the entire country from just one city. I really think Filipinos are my worst critics. I get many comments from Filipinos saying that, oh, it's not realistic enough, not enough trash, it's too clean, not enough traffic, or the drivers are following the traffic law, or that project is too expensive. That will never happen because the government is too corrupt. Like I mentioned, not everything is about Manila, okay? Not all Filipinos are baboy or buaya. And if you're one of the ones saying these things, I think you are part of the problem and not being part of the solution. You have accepted the current norm as permanent. Change in the society does not happen only because of one person. Not from a president, not from a mayor. Change in the society starts with you and starts with me and everyone else around us. We may have Mayor Isko Moreno right now, who is currently doing a tremendous heck of a job cleaning up the garbage of the past administrations, but he won't be there forever. Now that we see that there is hope, we as a society need to change our ways of thinking. Instead of accepting the norm and saying, you should put more trash there to be more realistic, you should put more traffic there. Instead, we should feel embarrassed and awkward. Instead of saying, that's too expensive of a project, maybe start saying, we should not cheap out because we, Filipinos, deserve that. And if you think the government is too corrupt, vote them out. Spend the time to do your research and vote wisely. Corruption cannot be eradicated entirely, and it does not happen overnight. It takes time. But don't worry, because it's already happening, and it's happening right now. The Manila City Hall is located in the historic center of Ermita, Manila. It was originally intended to be part of a national government center envisioned by Daniel Burnham in the 1930s. Although the dream plan was not fully implemented, some buildings for the proposed government center was constructed, including the old legislative building, now the National Museum of Fine Arts, and the Agriculture and Finance buildings. In the 1930s, the Manila City Hall was constructed, which included around 200 rooms and uniform windows on all sides. This was designed by Antonio Toledo, the same architect who built the finance and old legislative buildings, which were both adjacent to the new City Hall. Due to the building's top-down profile resembling a casket, urban legends have sprung about the structure. Furthermore, theories that it was intentionally formed to look like a shield of the Knights Templar, to symbolize that the country is under the influence and protection of the Roman Catholic Church. The building was finished in 1941, right before World War II. The building took heavy damage during the Battle of Manila in 1945. But with the aid of the United States Army, Philippine Commonwealth Army, and the city government, the City Hall was reconstructed, though did not follow the original plans. Among the deviations were an added fifth-floor attic from the south entrance. Additional offices were added on the east and west side entrances, and additional windows in some areas. Successive administrations have left their mark on the building. All of the trees inside and around the vicinity of the City Hall were planted by Manila Mayor Ramon Bagatsing during the early 1970s. The clock tower's dome and clock faces were painted red sometime before the 1990s. All of the office windows were eventually kept closed due to the noise, heat, and pollution, with some individual windows bearing the exhaust part of the air conditioning units, which are kind of an eyesore. Some of the doors and windows were also completely walled in. The clock tower, also designed by Antonio Toledo, which was completed during the 1930s, is the largest clock tower in the Philippines, reaching close to 100 feet in elevation. It stands out during nighttime when the whole of the tower lights up. Every hour, they ring the bell 3 times followed by a melody. It has now become the icon for the city of Manila. The clock tower was first renovated during the time of Mayor Atienza. The second time was after Estrada won in 2013. He had the clocks upgraded and digitalized so that it always be synchronized with the Philippine Standard Time. It was also adorned with LED lights that shifted colors like a Christmas tree. It was then changed into stationary white light after Isko Moreno took over as mayor in 2019. In the mid-2020, the portions of the clock tower in red, including the faces of the clocks, were painted in gold, which I like very much. It really gave a very clean and professional look. One thing I would really love to happen is for a central air conditioning installed to get rid of those eyesore window AC vents. So in real life, this area is where the SM Manila would go. But you guys already know how I feel about the proliferation of shopping malls in the Philippines. If you don't, then definitely should check out episode number 15. So instead of another shopping mall, I've put a public parking garage. This is a perfect spot for it because it's just right across the street from the monorail, and next to this will be an outdoor sports complex and a university. This parking garage is very important to me because you can't just take the illegally parked cars off the streets without giving them options, because they'll just illegally park somewhere else. One thing I've adopted for Isla Ivatan is this new road bike class. It accommodates a bike lane and a parking lane, which will provide not only another option for parking, but it will also serve as a buffer between the cyclists and the motorists. In 2015 alone, at least 26 bike riders were killed in Metro Manila because of road crashes. 962 people were also injured according to the data from Metropolitan Manila Development Authority. After 3 years of case study in New York, protected bike lanes have proven to reduce bike and car-related accidents by 20%. But I'm not an engineer, I just focus on what makes sense to me, and things that already work in other countries.
But do you know what else that doesn't make sense? You've been watching this video for over 10 minutes now, but I noticed that you haven't subscribed to this channel.
The next thing I'm going to do is build the Isla Ivatan University. So while watching this time lapse, tell us what's the best university in the Philippines and why. Give your alma mater a shout out in the comment below, and I'll be back in a bit. Alright guys, here she is, the brand new Manila City Hall, or I should say the replica of Manila City Hall in Isla Ivatan. Tell us what you think about this build in the comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, otherwise, mabuhay, and see you next time.
Thank you.